guys, Alex here from Mr. Build It, and in today's video I'll show you how I made these floating metal cube shelves without any kind of welding, just a simple gas torch. So without wasting any time, let me show you how I built them and let's get into the video. Let's go. Now for the main supplies, the metal itself, this is 1/4-inch steel. You can find this stuff at any local hardware store, Home Depot. I wanted to get a little bit more in bulk like this, longer pieces, so I went to a local steel shop. This only cost me, these are 4 5-foot long pieces. This cost me a little bit over $8. So very approachable, and I will show you how I'm doing this. Now the first thing we'll need to do is figure out how to cut this. Now if you're at home and you don't know what to cut this with, this is a relatively small or thinner material, but you can totally accomplish this with a couple of things. Number one, you can clamp this down and use a reciprocating saw with a metal cutting blade, very traditional method. Number two, if you have a circular saw and not a reciprocating saw, you can get yourself a blade that cuts both metal and wood and totally accomplish the same mission. Now, another way to do it is use an angle grinder. Now, I, for some weird reason, don't own an angle grinder with all the metal stuff that I have. Whatever, but I'll show you what I do have. What I do have is a chop saw. This is a metal cutting chop saw. It just has a diamond blade on it. You put the metal in there and cuts it all up. So that's what I'm gonna do. I give you guys options to do it for yourself. Do any of those options, and I'm gonna do this real quick. We're gonna take our metal that we've already pre-cut, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna joint it just like that. Now, how are we gonna do that? Well, we're gonna have to get some stuff. These are what are called brazing rods. And the way this is gonna work, we're gonna have to heat this metal to a certain temperature. That way this rod, which this particular one is a copper fill, and then when it gets hot enough, we're just simply gonna tap it and this is gonna melt kind of like solder does. Now the big problem we're gonna come across is in order to actually make this braze work, we have to get things hot enough. These brazing rods have to be at a temperature of 1600 degrees in order to melt, in order to actually apply it on this 1/4-inch steel that we're using. Now, how we're gonna get it that hot? Let me show you. Now, in order to actually get the temperatures hot enough, we need some hot gas torches. This is a propane gas. You've used this kind of gas probably camping with you to start a fire or something like that. It works well, but it doesn't get as hot. Now this right here, this is a MAP Pro gas. This stuff gets real hot real quick, and it's gonna get the job done. Spilled water over myself. We're gonna go get some protective stuff, some gloves, some goggles, maybe a little bit of air to vent out just in case you get smoky where you are. And then we're gonna start heating up this metal. Let's go. I get a little carried away sometimes. I forget to explain exactly what I have going on here. So I have a couple of rocks here that I got in my backyard. Put a little piece of wood here just so the moisture from the rocks doesn't get on this metal table. And the big idea is we're gonna need 2 pieces of rods going, one here, one there. That was a little scrap piece, I was experimenting. One here and one there. We're gonna need clamping pressure just to hold it in place, nothing serious. And then we're gonna need something to be like a 90-degree angle. That way we know the stuff's square. And then we're gonna torch it right there. Once it gets hot enough, nice bright red, then we're gonna start working this way in and allowing a capillary fill to take place. Now, in order for the capillary fill to take place, we're gonna need flux. I don't know what the science is about. There's a lot more smarter people out there, but all I know is if you don't have flux, it won't go anywhere. So this is a paste like that. You start wiping it on the metal, start heating it up till it gets red, and then you start applying the copper rod, and then through capillary fill, it starts sucking this copper into that joint. Actually really fun. Let me show you. Now it's cooling down and we got our copper inside of it. We're not gonna touch it. We're gonna let it cool down for a few minutes. It took about a minute to get it to that heat level with that torch, and I think the only reason it took so long is because the heat wasn't as direct as it would be with a brazing designated torch. But this works perfectly. We can get this done in no time. So once it cools down a little bit, we're gonna rotate it and get ready for the next joint. Look at that. So I can't emphasize enough, the torch is not burning or melting this. It is done by the metal heating up so hot that it melts the copper. And then with the capillary fill, it drags it in. So don't try to sit here and try to burn this thing. It's not gonna do it. It's not like soldering. Similar, but not like. It's all temperature related. And when it's full, when the joint's completely full, none of it will be sucked in anymore. So you'll kind of know when it's done. I'm gonna let this cool off, and then I'm gonna start cleaning up all these joints so they're nice and smooth, and then we'll get ready for the painting. So I'm about to go start grinding these things off, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? We need to put this to the test. If we've never made something like this, how do we know? Ooh, that's still a little warm there. Learned that the hard way. If this is still a strong structure, we'll see how it'll hold up. Let's do the old drop test. Fingers crossed. Look at this. As you can see, nothing broke. So far so good. Now the trick when we grind is not to take too much off because the brazing itself, the copper is what's holding it together. So I'm just gonna clean up any rough spots and keep the majority of the stuff there, so yeah. You know, it's funny, I actually didn't have to grind much of what I wasn't happy with the copper, how it was bulky and whatnot. I really just had to grind off the edges of the steel that I cut, so I'm pretty actually happy because the capillary fill pulls it in, sucks it in, and the top is kind of like a droplet of water would be. So pretty happy. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have to degrease this, shoot some paint primer on it, and then we'll start building the little shelf for it. And then, yeah, really good. So we're gonna need to degrease this mostly because this is metal. As soon as you're gonna put some paint on it, you're not gonna have a good adhesion. Sometimes it even crinkles up a little bit, the paint. So just do it the right way. You can use rubbing alcohol if you have it around the house. If not, I like to use acetone. I think it works a lot better. Just use a rag and clean it all up. You'll be surprised how dirty the rag gets. And then once that's all nice and clean, I'm going to use like a paint and primer specifically meant for metal. This is a satin white, and the trick is gonna be to go light on the coats or else you're gonna start getting run. So your first 1 or 2 coats should be your lightest, and then after that, have fun with it. You wanna see a magic trick? Watch this. Now let's see if we can get them painted even quicker. Saving time. I'm gonna let all this stuff dry and then let's start working on the actual wood that's gonna go in the shelf. I have something here somewhere. Yeah, yep, found it. Oh yeah. I knew I had a piece of oak somewhere. All right. All right, so the boards are ready, and I figured what I would do is to get the fit of the shelf, the wood itself, as perfect as possible. Is lay it on the bottom, because it is gonna go on the bottom shelf part. Lay this on top, and then take a pencil, and not a Sharpie, because a Sharpie would touch the white and that'll get it dirty. And then trace around it exactly where we would need it to be cut. Then, we take this off, take these lines, and we can have 2 methods. One method is the most easily accessible for you guys is use a circular saw or a jigsaw to create that cut. Now the only important thing for you guys to know is you will need something like this or maybe a drill bit. And the reason why is we need to create a cut around these posts because the piece of wood's gonna sit here, overlapping here and here. We'll go in flush. Well, there are gonna be these corners are gonna be the wood. You can either use a drill and just to create a cut there and there, or We could just use a jigsaw to go around it and sand it down. Whatever you guys want to do, options. We have lots of options. So to get these edges nice and smooth, I'm using a piece of sandpaper, wrapped it around a pencil just to get a better radius on it. And let's see how this thing fits. Look at that. Woo! Woo! Man, this is gonna look so nice. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna do the same to the rest of the shelves, and then we're gonna, for the finish, we're gonna do something water-based, mostly because oil-based stuff tends to amber or create a tinted amber kind of look and yellow the wood a little bit. I don't want to do. We went with a white oak specifically, so we want to keep it al natural as much as we can. Man, good day. All right, so for the stain, now that I got everything cut, I'm gonna be using a wipe-on poly. I've used this before in my previous shelf videos. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Stuff works really well. You can either brush it on, wipe it on, whatever you wanna do. Just put enough on that it's still wet. That way it hardens, and then you can put an extra second or third coat if you want. I'm probably gonna go with like maybe 2 coats. It'll be plenty enough, because it's gonna just put decor on it. And once that's ready, we're gonna be ready to install. So we're in the home finishing line. Here we go. Also, you know when you say something and you go, I don't know what that means? Home finishing line, that's not a thing. Home stretch, I think that's what I mean, home stretch. All right, so I'm about to get ready to start hanging these things up right behind me. A few things I picked up that is gonna help me do this. Nylon clamps, these are the 1/4 inch in diameter loops. They're the exact same thickness as the actual metal that we're using. So they would just hug just like that on the top of the rail, and then we're gonna screw it into the wall or drywall. I got anchors for it, and they're gonna hang out. So they're gonna be 2 per shelf. I'm gonna stagger them. I'm gonna get Irina, see if she can help me. I'll be right back. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I am so happy how this project turned out. We ran into a few problems, but we got through it, we figured it out, and that's what I want you guys to take away from this, is just not be afraid to try to do things that are a little scary. Courage and sweat, you gotta embrace it. Once you fail, there's nothing else to be afraid of. I'll put down in the description below all my social medias for you guys to connect with me if you'd like. Check out my merch, I'll put them down below. It'll support the channel. Look me up on Patreon and everything like that. I'll put the links to all the tools that I use down in the description below. Tune out this week, we'll see you guys on the next one. See ya. Bye. There we go. We got a hole. They're gonna look nice and nice. Nice and nice. They're gonna look nice. It's just single nice. What's the worst that can happen? Flood your house. Solving problems. That's what we're in the business for. Solving problems. Shut up. All right? We're just teaching people how to get started, and that is it.